In a very short while, I'm going to be sharing a little bit of magic with you as well. I've got a little magical effect. If you don't know me, I'm a magician, a performer, and an entertainer, as well as a traveller and an explorer, and a person who's into unconventional living. And right now, I'm coming to you live in my earthen build house, cob house, which is currently under construction in the south of Spain. So we're coming to you all the way from live in the south of Spain, Malaga. And Malaga, a town called Cartama. So just outside of Malaga, about 25 minutes from the airport. Now I've got two friends I can see in the background here. I'm gonna invite them in. We've got Eric. Hey Eric, and we've got our good friend right here from Germany. We've got Frank. Hey Frank. Welcome. It's good to see you both. And this is our first live together. And like I say, it's going out there to a number of different people. Hopefully on Facebook you can see this, and hopefully on YouTube. I got a little bit of magic that I would like to share with you. A little bit of a spark. No, this is not one of those effects that I created myself, even though I have a whole list of them. I'm the founder of the School of Busking, and I'm known for street theatre and street performing. But these days, I do a lot more private events, festivals, fairs. And here's the thing, there's something that I really enjoy doing, is an effect that I'll show you right now. Watch this. And the reason why I'm sharing this with you, to me, it's an earthen-based magical effect. Watch this. Cocktail glass. We call this magic beans. Magic beans. Here we go. We have air, fire, water and earth. Rhythm, that which is around us. Sound attracts the ear. Magic beans. The only thing is, we need a fair few more. Magic beans. Watch. Oh, here we go. Now the magician uses a wand, but what a lot of people don't realise is that a wand is a mere extension of one's own finger. So I'm going to ask you, my audience, to play a small part, and that is to take your magical finger, raise it high up in the air if you would, and point it straight at this here paper bag. Oh, here we go. Watch. Earth, air, fire and water. Cheers, folks. The reason why I thought I would start off with that here effect, it's quite simply, is that I feel like it's a very, very earth-based effect. It's a magical effect in that sense. It's very earth-based. and it's a creative effect, and it was created by a good friend of mine. His name is Brother Paul, and he's a magician, an American magician, and he's out there. But I've got effects that I'll share with you over a period of time. But right now, I want to take you behind the scenes of this earthen building. So that's one of the things we're going to be focusing on, is magic, creativity, creative sparks, and that which we can do and that which is around us, and unconventional living as well. As a performer, this is one of those things I do a fair bit of, as living a very alternative life. Either living in a caravan or in my motorhome. And in Spain during lockdown, I built basically a straw bale house. And I want to share something I've discovered since we arrived not too long ago. Now I just need to remember how to share. So here we go, right there. He says, and share. Can you see my screen? You can. So if I open up one of these, this is the very first part. I'm going to show you where we're at. And this is literally the mountain that my house is built upon. And right up here, I don't know if you can see my mouse, but right up here, you see that tree? I'm just beyond that tree. And that is where my house is. It's right up there, up in the mountains of Cartama. Okay? So the second thing I want to share with you is this little video right here. So it goes. Here we go. Very exciting. We have sourced clay. We source earthen clay right underneath our feet. Here's the thing. We're over here in Andalusia, and I've been working on a project, not just this, but a YouTube channel. And one of the things that I've been wondering is where to start. We come over here with the idea of fire. Instead, I've made this amazing clay plaster. This is rich Andalusian clay. You see that there? Our first layer of clay plaster. And point is, earth is healing. Earth is grounding. Earth is where it's at and what it's all about. And this is where we begin. So, I'll show you another one where this wall is a little bit more completed, if you like. So where is it? It's that one right there. And you get the idea. I'm showing off my belly there. Look at that. So Veronica just asked me, what's this coat? This is the scratch coat. And it's going straight onto our cob. This is cob. Truth window. Yeah. And this is our scratch coat. So on top of this, our final plaster is going to go on here, which is basically the same mix of earth, one part, sharp sand, water, and a mix of toilet paper in this case, or you can use fine fibre, or not even in your final coat. And what I'm doing right now is just screening out and just moving the clay around. And I believe we're going to seal this finally with linseed oil. We're going to bathe it in linseed oil right on the top, but particularly around the kitchen area when we're going that area. So there you have it. It's stop sharing that. And in theory, I should be back in the room. Oh, there we got. Hey, Twig. Sorry, man. I can see you in the background, and I think we may have lost you a moment ago. But yeah, in and out. But yeah, so here we are. Like that is my clay mix. I was very, very, very pleased to discover a real rich source of this clay. Because during the lockdown, when we were digging the clay, that was hard graft. I tell you, that was really hard graft. I mean, great, lost a lot of weight, kept us fit, very creative. I still got trigger finger in my left hand as a result of doing all this work. I had them in both of my hands. That's when your fingers locked. But one of the things that it did was it allowed me to release my creative processing. Like all that kind of, as I was sharing right at the beginning, that survival mode where you're in your survival motion. You're thinking first thing in the morning, what do I need to do today? Or the things that keep you up at night time. All those things kind of get in the way of your creative ability and your creative expression. And as soon as we get past that, that's when we step into the fullness of our creative spark. That's when our juices can begin to flow. And that's why all these things that I have found, one of the most beautiful things I've worked with is clay, earthen clay. And it's a magical resource. The effects that I just shared with you, the magic bean effect, again, it's very earth-based, and it has that kind of a sense of grounding and really grounding you where you're at. So this is it. This is the idea of this YouTube channel, is looking at creative spark, looking at magic, and looking at the unconventional alternative lifestyles, and not just my own, but hopefully other people as well, and their experiences and their own creative sparks as well. So we're looking towards to have some guests perhaps on the show as well. But in regards to what I've just shared, I know it's been a brief moment, but do any of you have any questions? Or thoughts?
Had you done clay work before?
I have, yes. What with the story behind the build that I'm in is something we started during lockdown. And during lockdown, we were over here and we started building this house. And and that was my prior to that, I had a little bit of experience in Wales where I was a volunteer. And I worked as a volunteer helping build a straw bale house. It was a beautiful project, and the whole idea, there was a community there. They were all frontline workers, so they're working together because they were growing food as well as. So we had a 3.5 acre forest garden, that it was called. And in addition to that, we were building a rather large structure, and I was involved in that. And of course, moved on to our own project, and it happened to be this one, and really thought we would have a community that would help us build this house. But of course, it was lockdown, so this wasn't possible. Nobody was coming close to anyone. So therefore, Veronica and ourselves quite literally spent 18 months. I had it in my head. For some reason, I thought I could do it in 3 months. I kid you not. It was totally unrealistic. 18 months later, we were driving away now, because lockdown had passed. We were driving away with one of the walls still drying. And we never had the opportunity to live in what we built. Prior to that, it was a building site. But yeah, during that time, it kept me sane. And yeah, my connection to Earth, it kept me sane. I'm looking at one of my walls over there, which was my first real experiment with plaster. I can't turn the camera around to show you, but it was so I'm looking at these walls, and yes, that was my first real experience of working with clay, and that was my first experiences working with these plasters. So I've laid up. Yeah, it is beautiful.
Great.
And one of the beautiful things about clay that I'm discovering, it's quite forgiving. You know, unlike conventional building work, it's quite forgiving. It's you know, so which is great. You know, so there's room for and during lockdown as well. This is you know, it's also substance which is in regards to it being friendly. Man, you can literally do a face mask. You know, apply this to your face. You know, you couldn't do that with conventional cement. So yeah, it's very friendly. So exterior will be a different mix again, but it'll still be clay based. And we're toying with the idea of using lime for the outside. Yeah, so yeah, it's so that's to keep it. You know, but it's the walls are really solid. This is cob. Cob is very different. I'm aware that you're very familiar with earthen builds. Are you familiar with this kind of stuff, Twig?
I am, but other people might not be. But I am very much so. And I learned on the job, like what you've been doing, and mixed it all, and did lots of it. I appreciate it deeply. Yeah.
I mean, this is really rough and ready, but it's solid and not going nowhere. And that's been standing here now but it's ready to be sealed. So this is and we're going to have we're calling it the Story of Earth Day, Community Day on Saturday. And I hope, especially if you're out there, you're on YouTube or if you're on Facebook and you want to come up here and get your hands covered in mud and earth and hear the story of Earth as well, we're going to be sharing that up here. So we're going to have an open day, and yeah, we'll have you know, some vegetarian food here as well, you know, and so one of those, you know. So not that I'm a vegetarian, but it will be vegetarian on the day. That's a side note. Yeah. So hey, Frank. Oh, I can't hear you, Frank. Nope, no sound there at all, Frank. You're good on my side, but I can't hear you. So if you can sort that out on your side, I could take your question, but or perhaps stick it in the private chat. But this is it. It's one of those things. It is a pleasure to be here. I will say I did cheat a little bit, and that is I'm standing on a concrete slab, and that's one of the things. I have got a concrete slab. My stem wall, the stem wall, which I have gone all the way around here, a stem wall is basically a raised wall which is designed to keep the bales off the floor. So particularly for water splashback from rains and or the rest of it. So it's raised slightly up, but all the rocks, if you, I will share some photos, but all the rocks here were collected manually by ourselves from these here mountains. That was a task in itself. So have we got oh, thank you. You sent me a message, Frank. What are you doing outside against the mouses? A wire net. Basically, we're just the cob wall in itself is sealed and it's gone really solid and hard. So we are going to be putting a scratch coat on the outside of that, and again the final coat, and we're hoping that will be enough of a barrier against them. And at the moment we've had absolutely no trouble. We have had visitors, but that's normal. You know, we have had visitors, but they have not gone into the walls. There was one wall over the far side that we got an entry point there, but that was partly because it was left exposed, you know. But where the cob has gone in tight, I found it to be really good on that front. So it's what's your experience on that front, Twig?
Yeah. My appreciation is that if you put enough cob and it dries off, it's all going to be good. But if you have tunnels like the way you've got a stem wall, that's very smart for that. If you put the bales lower and they get kind of under access, then they can they can create a whole world inside the walls. Yeah. But if it's all sealed off, it's great.
It's great. Yeah. It's one of them. So this is the if you like, at the moment, it's my very first live. It's a loose program as such, but I am focusing on creativity, creative spark, magic, and unconventional living or alternative living.